What happens when a rising Horn of Africa actor publicly pushes back against one of the region's most powerful external players? Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan just visited Ethiopia, but Somaliland's response has sent shockwaves across the Red Sea corridor. Could this be a routine diplomatic statement, or the start of a major geopolitical shift that the world cannot ignore? Somaliland condemned Erdoğan's remarks as unacceptable interference, warning they could affect its regional partnerships. In a region where every word can shift alliances, this is not just politics. It's power, influence, and global trade at stake. Stay with me, because we'll unpack what this means for Turkey, Somaliland, Ethiopia, and the balance of power in the Horn of Africa. Welcome to Horn Lens, your window into elite, fact-based analysis of the Horn of Africa and global strategic corridors. Here we decode power, strategy, and diplomacy, not hype, not opinion. If you want calm, high-level insight that policymakers, analysts, and globally minded viewers rely on, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because understanding the Horn is understanding global power itself. In the next 10 minutes, we break down the full story behind Somaliland's response, Erdoğan's Ethiopia visit, and the rising tension shaping the Horn of Africa. Stay with me. This is where strategy, diplomacy, and global stakes collide. On February 18, 2026, Somaliland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a bold and unequivocal statement, strongly condemning President Erdoğan's recent remarks as unacceptable interference in Somaliland's internal affairs. The statement was not only a response to Turkey's comments, but also a broader message to the international community. The message was clear and resolute. External actors, including Turkey, must respect the region's sovereignty, independence, and right to self-determination. Somaliland emphasized that the future of the Horn of Africa should be shaped by its own people, free from foreign pressure or influence. Only through mutual respect can lasting peace and stability be achieved. By framing its response around stability, dialogue, and self-determination, Somaliland positioned itself as a responsible and forward-thinking regional actor. The statement reaffirmed Somaliland's peaceful pursuit of international recognition, its commitment to democratic values, and its willingness to engage in constructive dialogue with all nations. It was a firm and principled rejection of any attempt to dictate Somaliland's foreign policy or veto its diplomatic relationships. Somaliland's response was not just reactive. It was a declaration of political maturity, a call for equal treatment, and a demand to be engaged with on its own terms as a legitimate and sovereign entity. In the Horn's complex political chessboard, Somaliland made it clear. It's ready to play by its own rules, and it expects the world to recognize its right to do so. Erdoğan's comments followed a high-profile visit to Ethiopia, where he reiterated Turkey's support for Somalia's territorial integrity, implicitly rejecting Somaliland's independence. He warned that recognizing Somaliland would destabilize the region, a clear reference to Israel's recent recognition of Somaliland. Erdoğan condemned Israel's move, framing it as a threat orchestrated by outside powers. His remarks were designed to isolate Somaliland and discourage others from following Israel's lead. For Somaliland, this was a direct attack on its legitimacy and its most significant diplomatic achievement. Erdoğan's intervention wasn't neutral. It was a calculated move to protect Turkey's interests and undermine Somaliland's quest for recognition. Somaliland's leadership felt compelled to respond, defending its right to shape its own alliances and narrative. Turkey's influence in the Horn of Africa is built on years of investment, especially in Somalia. Since the early 2010s, Ankara has steadily deepened its presence, blending humanitarian outreach with ambitious political and economic goals. Ankara has rebuilt infrastructure, provided aid, and established its largest overseas military base near Mogadishu, training Somali forces and projecting power. Turkish engineers have helped restore roads, hospitals, and schools, while Turkish businesses have created jobs and opportunities for local communities. Turkey's deep security ties make any move toward Somaliland's independence a direct threat to its interests. The stability of Somalia is seen as essential to Ankara's broader regional strategy, and any fragmentation could undermine years of investment. Beyond Somalia, Turkey has cultivated ties with Ethiopia and acted as a regional mediator, embedding itself in the Horn's geopolitics. Ankara's diplomatic efforts have positioned it as a trusted partner in peace talks and crisis response. Erdoğan's comments reflect not just policy, but a defense of Turkey's strategic vision, a unified Somalia anchored by Turkish support. This vision is central to Ankara's aspirations for regional leadership and influence. Somaliland's recognition by Israel and potential backing from the UAE challenges this vision and threatens Ankara's role as a regional power broker. These new alliances could shift the balance of power and complicate Turkey's efforts to maintain its influence. Erdoğan's firm stance is about protecting hard-won influence and maintaining Turkey's central role in the Horn. For Ankara, retreat is not an option. Every gain must be defended. The stakes are high, and every diplomatic move is closely watched. Regional and global powers are paying attention, knowing that shifts here could echo far beyond Africa. In this environment, words are as consequential as actions. The future of the Horn, and Turkey's place within it, hangs in the balance. Somaliland's rebuttal was a calculated assertion of agency. By challenging Erdoğan, Hargeisa signaled it's not a passive player, but an active shaper of its destiny. The response highlighted Somaliland's commitment to non-interference and its reliability as a partner. It was also a strategic message to potential allies. Somaliland is stable, democratic, and determined to control its own narrative. The goal was to protect its diplomatic momentum after Israel's recognition, and to prevent Erdoğan's framing from taking hold. Silence would have signaled weakness. Instead, Somaliland chose to lead the conversation. This was a bold move to solidify its standing as a sovereign in waiting. Israel's recognition of Somaliland triggered a wave of diplomatic realignment across the Horn of Africa and the Middle East, sending shockwaves through regional capitals and prompting urgent strategy sessions among governments. Somalia, feeling threatened by the move, swiftly cut ties with the UAE and deepened its alliance with Turkey and Qatar, seeking to shore up its position and counterbalance growing external pressures. Turkey responded with a show of force, deploying fighter jets to Somalia and raising the stakes in a region already fraught with tension and uncertainty. The Horn became a battleground for rival blocs, Turkey and Qatar on one side, UAE and Israel on the other, with Somaliland and Somalia at the very center of this high-stakes contest for influence. Recognition diplomacy is now a powerful tool for influence, not just a legal debate. Each new agreement or withdrawal of recognition can shift the balance of power and reshape alliances overnight. The region's strategic location along the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait makes its stability vital for global trade, with billions of dollars in goods passing through these waters every day. Multipolar competition is the new norm, as local actors leverage external rivalries to advance their interests, drawing in new players and complicating the diplomatic chessboard. The Somaliland episode shows how quickly recognition politics can escalate into broader strategic contests, with local disputes rapidly taking on international dimensions. The Horn's diplomatic landscape is more crowded and unpredictable than ever, as shifting alliances and external interests continue to redraw the map of power in this pivotal region. The Somaliland-Turkey clash signals a fundamental shift in the Horn's geopolitics. Regional actors are now shaping their own narratives, no longer content to be pawns of external powers. Somaliland's public rebuttal shows that influence must be earned, not imposed. External powers like Turkey face a more complex environment, where local actors have agency and clear red lines. Diplomatic messaging is now a key battleground. Somaliland's response was a masterclass in using words to gain global attention. The region is moving from conflict and state failure to complex diplomacy and strategic competition. The old rules are being rewritten by confident local players demanding a seat at the table. The Horn's new era is dynamic, unpredictable, and defined by assertive local voices. The Somaliland-Turkey standoff marks a turning point for the Horn of Africa. Somaliland's assertive response was a declaration that the region's future will be decided locally, not dictated from abroad. Regional actors are mastering modern diplomacy, building alliances, and shaping narratives that resonate globally. Even without UN recognition, Somaliland showed it can command attention and influence debate. For global powers, this is a lesson in humility. Influence now requires partnership and respect for sovereignty. The Horn is no longer a passive object of policy, it's a dynamic subject shaping its own destiny. This new assertiveness brings risks, but also the promise of a more balanced regional order. The Horn of Africa has found its voice, and the world must listen. Subscribe to Horn Lens for elite, calm, fact-based geopolitical analysis of the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea world, because this region is shaping the future of global trade, security, and diplomacy.